the Houston Texans are one of the more interesting teams in the NFL purely because they're so bad, have some potential, and then waste it every single year. So let's break it down and see what can the Texans do this year to get better, what can they do to get worse even, and how are they going to build upon a really poor season for them this year. What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Coker, and I'm your host for today's episode of Today with Tyler. I hope you enjoy. The Houston Texans have a decent amount of free agents, but ultimately they're not crucial. Tyrod Taylor, the quarterback, is a free agent. David Johnson, their running back that they traded for with a second-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Malik Collins, their defensive tackle. Desmond King, a corner. Chris Conley, one of their wide receivers. Justin Reed, one of their safeties. And Jerron Christian, another offensive tackle. So they do have a lot of free agents, but I cut out a lot of them just because they were so bad, including a lot of linebackers. So let's break down their team and see exactly what we have to work with. I've done an in-depth film analysis of Davis Mills, so I think he has the potential to maybe even be a franchise option. That being said, they do need to build around him for him to be so. Ideally, with Watson's legal issues finally being cleared, that they'll be able to trade Watson, get some big picks for him, and really turn this team around. If they can trade Deshaun Watson for a good high value, the Texans are going to be one hell of a team to build for, just because there's nothing in the way of them finally getting good players and building a good team for once. Lovie Smith is definitely a hire that's meant to be a bridge, and they should use this time to be a rebuild time because ultimately they don't have a big future in their division, so now's the time to rebuild strong and get good. No matter what, let's look at personnel. Brandon Cooks had a pretty good year, as good as it gets as a wide receiver stuck on the Texans, but they have no depth at the position. Getting a better wide receiver would help the team greatly, not only improving their poor pass attack, but helping Mills find open receivers, which was one of the biggest issues I found for him on a film. Nobody was ever open for him to throw to. Farrell Brown didn't have a great season either at tight end, but Brevin Jordan couldn't even beat him out to be the tight end one on this roster. So they do need to attack that tight end position once again. The running back core was dire until the end of the year when Rex Burkhead every once in a while looked like he could actually be a good running back. But in the end, they do need a good, solid running back to work with. Burkhead did get extended, basically just because of that Chargers game. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of rode with him for a little bit. But if they really want an upgrade as a whole unit, they definitely have to upgrade at running back. The David Johnson trade gets worse every year since he really never produced. And can you imagine what they could have done with DeAndre Hopkins this whole time? That would be a great story to learn. But it doesn't help that their O-line struggled mightily this year, and it really hurt Davis Mills and their running game. They had a lot of injuries on the O-line, but no matter who was out there, they still struggled. Laramie Tunsil is a saving grace coming back next year, but they desperately need O-line if they really want to improve as a team, and that starts with every position but left tackle. And even then, I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Tunsil and drafted a left tackle. Their defense made a habit of getting crushed. Their secondary desperately needs defensive backs, and it doesn't help that their linebacker core was also too weak to cover. Eric Wilson, Kamu Grieger-Hill, and Christian Kirksey are some of the lowest ranked linebackers in the whole entire NFL, telling the story of their poor rushing defense as well. Despite the brilliant season by edge rusher John Greenard and the serviceable season by his opposite edge DeMarcus Walker, their interior and second level weaknesses allowed the third most yards per carry every single year. And the defense really struggled this year, and it's finally time to attack the defense and, with this draft class, finally make that defense good again. Finally get a defense that can actually produce. So they have a lot of positional needs. That's inevitable. But what exactly are their top 5 to me? I have their number 1 being offensive line, just because Davis Mills needs someone to block for him. Then strong safety, then free safety, then a corner, and then wide receiver. And they also really need linebackers, so pretty much anything is good. They are in one of those positions where they can draft the best player available, no matter where they are. And they're one of the more interesting teams to mock draft for, purely because they need so much that you can take pretty much anything but a quarterback and you'll be making the right choice. So an example ideal draft for them is Ikem Ekwonu, the North Carolina State offensive tackle in the first. Lately, I've been kind of changing this to Charles Cross out of Mississippi State, purely because I like his technical side more than the physical upside of Ikem Ekwonu. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went for Ekwonu instead, because physicality always prevails over technique in terms of what the teams like to draft. In the second, I'd like to see him take Jalen Petre, the Baylor strong safety. He's one of my sleepers, and even if he doesn't make it, between Lewis Sine and Jaquan Brisker, someone's going to be there that's going to be able to be a big, strong safety for them. And then, of course, if they could trade slightly down and then maybe get Kyle Hamilton, that would be ideal. But in the third, I have him taking Romeo Doubs, the Nevada wide receiver. I could also like him taking Christian Watson here. He's that North Dakota State wide receiver. Ultimately, they need a receiver. They need to elevate Brandon Cooks. They need to make sure that he's not the only good wide receiver on this team. And why not attack it in the third, where you have a lot of depth, but just you get a lot of good players in the third this year. And then they have another third-round pick where I have him taking Kobe Bryant, the Cincinnati corner. I really like Kobe Bryant. He's definitely an underrated prospect purely because Sauce Gardner's on the other side of him. So I really want to see what the Texans can do this year in the draft. They have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, and they're in the position to trade down a lot if they really wanted to. So the Texans are one of those teams that you really want to see do well now that they finally got rid of Bill O'Brien and they have a whole new look to them. I want to see him trade Deshaun Watson, get some picks, and fully restart. I want to see him do a real rebuild. So with that being said, I have an interview with a real Texans fan, Daniel Tinoco, who you may know from the Today with Tyler show, which is streamed weekly, and you may know from last year's NFL Breakdown, where he featured on every single episode. So I hope you enjoyed this interview with him. He is an avid Texans fan, unfortunately for him, and it's good to know a fan's perspective. So enjoy the interview, and thank you for listening. All right, we're here with Daniel Tinoco. Not only is he a co-host of the Tyler and Tinoco show, but he...
Unfortunately, I am a Texans fan.
Yes. Let's look into it. You want to start with offense first or defense? You get to pick.
Let's start on defense first.
All right, defense first. Do you want to lead us through? Because
all right.
All right, talk.
I'm going to look on your screen because you actually have the PFF grades unlocked. Well, on that, I don't want to pay for it. Okay. Defense. At one point, one of the most touted defenses in the entire league. Absolutely. Now like
horrible.
Like, remember Whitney Merciless, J.J. Watt,
Jamie Clowney,
AJ Jonathan Joseph. The list goes on and on. It was a formidable defense.
The big boy, Vince
Wilfork, Whitney Merciless. The defense.
Zach Cunningham.
This defense was great, but now it's actually one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
Highest grade on PFF was 82.9 on Granard. Don't remember the fucker's name.
Jonathan
Granard. Free agents on defense include safety Justin Reed. I remember when he was good in his rookie and his second year. And then I know there is another corner that we drafted out of Kentucky. I don't remember his name.
Recently?
A couple years ago. It was a safety.
Was it not Kirkpatrick, something similar to that?
No. I don't remember his name, probably because he sucks, but I believe it was a safety out of Kentucky.
A safety?
Lonnie Johnson. Yeah, he was a safety, but I think they switched him to corner. I remember he was really good in college, but I don't know what the happened. As far as free agents go, Justin Reed, Malik Collins, Vincent Taylor, he's on the offense. Desmond King, and basically the entire linebacker core, all free agents, and defensive end Jacob Martin.
Decent.
Out of that group, the only one worth bringing back is Jacob Martin because he has been shown improvement. Literally everyone else can go kick a can as far as I'm concerned. Defense is ass. It's very bad, actually.
Yeah.
Malik Collins isn't terrible, but it's not worth bringing back as far as I'm concerned. None of the linebackers are worth, so they're basically going to have to go look into the draft of free agents to try to get one. They don't have a corner one.
Nope.
They don't have any corners, actually.
They don't have any corners or safeties.
The entire secondary is a mess. Second line's ass. The only salvation is the front line, but even then it's kind of shit too. So, plugging holes. My guess is as far as defensive ends go, I think they're set if they do re-sign Jacob Martin.
And he'll be cheap as well, because who knows who Jacob Martin is.
Exactly. So, as far as they need a nose. That's like one of their main things that they do need. I think either a nose or they need to shore up the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I think with their third overall pick, they should be looking for a secondary man. They'll be in a corner or safety. They need a true corner. I think they should try to maybe draft Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame.
Kyle Hamilton will be there, for sure.
Kyle Hamilton, or if they want to really look into it, if Derek Stingley's there, he might not be.
He will.
He will.
So, the thing about Derek Stingley, as someone who's been watching the draft since before the season started...
I don't think he's corner one, to be honest.
He's not, and that's the thing.
I think Sauce Gardner's number one.
This is an old ranking, sort of, because...
When was this?
The corner position has changed a lot, and while it may look like, oh, Derek Stingley is amazing, he has a lot of potential, clearly, but he did nothing after 2019 as a freshman.
Yeah.
I'd be concerned as a team using the third overall pick, drafting someone who hasn't done anything in 3 years.
And with that statement, I think if they are going to go corner, they should look into Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He's fucking fantastic. He didn't release a single touchdown.
Do you know if Lovie Smith runs a man or zone off the top of your head?
I think he's more zone.
Then yeah, Gardner is perfect for you. He's more of a zone corner himself, whereas Andrew Booth is going to be your man one.
So, yeah, with their first pick, I think with the majority of their draft, they should try to address defense. Mm-hmm. First pick, either Kyle Hamilton or Sauce Gardner. With their second pick, I believe it is the 37th pick, which is second round. I think they should start looking into maybe addressing a nose tackle. Possibly maybe going after Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. Or possibly Jordan Davis out of Georgia if they are still there.
Jordan Davis is definitely not going to...
I mean, you never know.
He won't be there.
You never know. And maybe Chavon Walker. He's not going to be there either, I don't think.
No, he's more likely than Jordan Davis.
They need a nose tackle. It's just really what I'm getting at. So that they need to address the secondary. They need to address the... front line also. They just need one nose tackle. The second one doesn't have to be as good. They just need one. Or not nose. They just need a singular defensive tackle. That's it. That's all they need. And then as far as the linebacker core goes, they're not good. And looking at the current free agents, there's not a lot of good ones.
Here, I'll pull it up on...
Well, Leighton Vander Esch is actually a free agent.
And he'll probably make it.
He's not going to want to go to fucking Houston.
Well, it's not like he's been good enough to really pick.
It is fair. In a perfect world, they do go after Leighton Vander Esch. Maybe they go after a fucking Keanu Neal.
If you want to go big, the only one ranked well in PFF is Devondre Campbell coming out of Green Bay.
Actually, Troy Reader's a free agent too.
Troy Reader?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think honestly, I feel like the Texans maybe should go after Troy Reader. He is a restricted free agent though.
Yeah, so chances are he's not going to be wonderful, but there's a decent amount of serviceable free agents.
Bernardrick McKinney, I can't pronounce that shit. He's a free agent. Quan Alexander is a free agent. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those...
you can take John Bostic from us, please.
If you're that willing to want to get rid of him, I don't think so.
Yeah, he'll be an upgrade on whatever you got.
Yeah. But yeah, just some of those names, just... They don't have to get someone spectacular, just someone who's good enough that they're decent and they're playable.
Mm-hmm.
with their third, I think that's when they should switch over to offense. They should be looking into grabbing an offensive lineman. Probably, maybe Rasheed Walker.
Yeah. Rasheed Walker would be a good pick in the third round because he was projected to be a first rounder before the season started and then kind of fell. So he has the potential to be really good. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of room to improve, essentially.
Or maybe Luke Fortner out of Kentucky. Big man. 6'6", 300.
Here, let me look into him because I don't recognize him on top of my head. Luke Fortner.
He's a senior. He's 15th ranked at this position, but I feel like he could maybe fall down to the third. With their third pick?
He's a guard, and clearly he's not very good.
I don't know, man. Texans are retarded.
True, you could take him. You probably will. But should you?
Probably not.
No.
I'm not very versed in the draft.
Unfortunately, I am extremely.
I mean, Chris Paul wouldn't be bad, but I don't think he'll fall down to the third. Out of Tulsa.
I think he will. So, like I said, it's kind of a weird list. Some of these guys are in weird places. I'm trying to think of tackles that'll land in the third. You'll find Rasheed Walker. You might be able to find like Abraham Lucas out of Washington. Oh, Daniel Falele. That should be your pick. Mm-hmm. If you can get him. Because he might end up getting reached for into the second. But if I'm the Texans and I'm looking O-line in the third, you want Daniel Falele. He's 6'8", like 400 pounds. He's a rock. And if you could just teach him any sort of technical skill, you're fine. Guard, you'd probably want to wait until the fourth-ish. Just because the fourth is kind of the sweet spot for guards. And you want that value for your picks, especially since you don't have many extra picks. You're going to want to be effective.
So I'm just looking at the current free agents right now, seeing if they could really address that. They do have $19 million in free cap space, but that could change if they do really cut some players, which I really hope they fucking do.
I'm sure they will, because when your team gets a new head coach, when you get...
They need a running back. The David Johnson is not going to fucking cut it.
Do you have any confidence in Rex Burkhead? Because he did get extended after that Chargers game.
No. I think he's old. I don't think he's going to be able to replicate what he did this last few seasons. Oh, he's only 31, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think they need to find at least a good second person. The Texans need another wide receiver. They can't just be chucking it up to fucking Brandon Cooks all the time.
Yes, they do.
I think they should maybe go for Traquan Smith from St. or fucking New Orleans. I had a stroke. I like Traquan Smith. Jamison Crowder would be a good pickup as well.
Ooh, Jamison Crowder would be good. The only issue is he's kind of similar to Brandon Cooks in play style.
Yeah.
You need like a true one. You need someone who's bigger.
Antonio Brown.
Go ahead.
No, if I'm just looking at the list, there's not a lot of good receivers.
You could get Mike Williams. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, true. DJ Chark is actually someone I would want to pick up.
Yeah.
I was looking at that list and I was like, yeah, DJ Chark, he's solid out of Jacksonville. I think he'd be a good pickup.
Michael Gallup would be good.
Willie Snead might be good too.
You need a 1. You don't need like a 4.
I know.
I mean,
I feel like Brandon Cooks, he is the 1 technically, but
yeah. But would you want him to be your 1 all the time? No. You want someone who's bigger. You want someone who's got the size to be able to take kind of a 50-50 ball. And you don't really have... You don't have a good tight end to make up for that. So, you're in kind of a tough spot where you need someone with size on your team. Burkhead's small. Your receivers are small.
We don't have a good team. I think they should chat. David Njoku is going to be really expensive if they do go for him.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the cap space for that. Do you know be a good pickup though?
Who?
I guess that's Mike Gesicki.
If Gesicki lands with the room to get picked, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki would be good. O.J. Howard wouldn't be bad either. He's kind of ass, but...
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
I mean, for the time, our current quarterback, our tight end has a 48 grade on fucking PFF, so...
So if you're looking at like a cheap option, if Washington doesn't re-sign him, Ricky Seals-Jones, he's the bottom of your list right there.
Yeah.
He's surprisingly good. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be stellar, but he's going to be cheap, and he's going to get the job done for you guys. Would he be my suggestion? No. And he'll probably get re-signed unless we want to go with like Trey McBride in the second. But, I mean, he's a good player, and like I said, he brings the size. He's a former wide receiver. So he's more of a receiving tight end, which is something you desperately need.
Yeah. What would be your ideal draft?
For you guys?
Yeah.
I wrote down a little bit. In round 1, I want you guys drafting Ikem Ekwonu. Honestly, I could also see Charles Cross going here. There's 2 tackles that are kind of neck and neck for me right now because Cross is more technically sound, but if Ikem Ekwonu hits his potential, he's a better player 110%. So Ikem Ekwonu had questions coming into the draft or into the season saying, we're not sure if he's going to be good enough. We're not sure if he's going to be able to produce how we want him to produce, if he's going to be able to, do what he needs to do to be a good left tackle. But he proved them all wrong, and he's officially one of the top prospects in the draft in terms of offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. Then in the second, this is more of a low pick. I think realistically you guys can get either Jaquan Brisker, Lewis Cine, or Jalen Petre out of, there's 3 different players. There's 3 different schools, but they're all strong safeties. I think Petre is the least likely out of those 3 because he's the lowest prospect. And this mock draft that I did where you guys got Petre just happened to have a lot of strong safeties taken. Mm-hmm. I think realistically, you're looking at Lewis Cine. Lewis Cine is good. He's from Georgia. I don't know if you remember. That's the one I use. Mm. I don't know if you remember. Have you watched much Kyle Pitts highlights from Florida?
I know he was cracked, but he didn't really do much this last season.
Well, he got cracked. Like, head-to-head killer shot. That was Lewis Cine. Mm. And now he's a national champion. He's pretty good. So, I really like him. Fast if you don't want to trade, normal if you actually want to trade. But in the second, I like to say, see you guys go strong safety. If there's a corner who drops from the first, who is supposed to be in the first, I think you go for corner because really you need everything. So at this point, you're taking best player available almost every time. Mm-hmm. So then you go to the third, and you're looking at 2 different picks with a wide variety. I forget what numbers they are. You said, I'd forget. But in the third, I want you guys taking... He kind of fell, so I don't know if he'd fall in the real draft, but Romeo Doubs out of Nevada. He's a really good wide receiver and just adds like a dynamic spark to you. You need a wide receiver. Help out Davis Mills. If a tight end falls to 3, take him. Like if you could end up with Trey Lance or Jalen Wyermeyer or even Isaiah Likely, if any of those 3 drop, take him. Take those guys. And then the last one, I actually had you taking a corner here. His name's Kobe Bryant. He's from Cincinnati. He's the opposite. There he is, 81. He's the opposite corner to Ahmad Gardner Sauce. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to see you guys do. I want to see you guys go and say, all right, we're taking the best player available at each spot. Because we have so many positional needs, we're going to go with what can we get the best talent for. That's what it comes down to, for your draft at least. I stopped after 3 because then it gets into people who just maybe will be able to pop off, Because the 4th is a little bit more experimental. Plus, looks like you guys don't even have a 4th. Oh, no, you do. 130. Nice. All right, well, I think that'll be enough. We'll just start mock drafting now because I love the draft. Yeah. So, thanks for joining. Thanks for helping us understand why the Texans suck so bad. Literally, giving us a fan's perspective of torture.